Hello everybody, and welcome to the Collier's House in beautiful Catoctin Furnace. My name is Henry Ward. I am an archaeologist and a chef, and I've been asked today to come and talk about the holiday at the furnace and some of the foods and drinks that folks here would have eaten, drunk 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, and even further back than that. So we're going to start off talking about root beer. And as you can imagine from the name, it originally was made from roots. And we have here a selection of a number of different native indigenous spice roots, herbs. We have birch bark, sassafras, wintergreen, ginger, allspice, nutmeg. And all of these flavors at one time had made their way into root beer, the most important of them being sassafras. Sassafras is a very important American wood. There are stories of the fact that it was the scent of sassafras that caught Columbus's attention as they were going ahead and sailing towards Hispaniola. They came ashore and saw the Native Americans making a tonic out of it, but also rubbing the leaves on their burns and scratches. And so it became tied in the American mind with being a powerful native medicine, a miracle drug from the Americas. And since the crew came back to Europe with some diseases that they had picked up in the New World, it became connected with this new sassafras. And so sassafras became a cure, a sort of a cure-all for a number of diseases, including some, shall we say, social diseases, which were picked up by the crew when they were in the New World. And so the exploration and the import of sassafras root was actually a driver for early 16th and 17th century exploration of the Americas. They eventually found out that it didn't work, it didn't cure anything, but it had an interesting flavor. And so it continued to be used as a spring tonic. It's interesting that the Native American and Chinese foodways are similar in some ways. They talk about warm and cold spices, cleansing spices and cooling spices. And sassafras is considered to be a warm spice, a stimulant, and to be a thinner of the blood. It's an interesting idea that you made spin a tonic in the spring out of sassafras to thin your blood to get it ready for the heat. And then in the fall, you would have something else which thickened your blood to get you ready for the winter. In the 20th century, a gentleman named Hires was looking for a non-alcoholic beverage that he could give to Pennsylvania coal miners. And he came up with a root concoction that he called root tea that did not sell particularly well. He played around and began to carbonate it, and then called it root beer, an American drink through and through. And because there were not many commercial sodas, home brewed root beer would be a special treat. We're going to grind up these roots. We're going to put them in this crock with a starter that is made out of ginger and sugar. And you've given time, the natural yeast from the ginger form a starter. And so we're going to let this ferment just long enough to go ahead and get some bubbles in it, but not enough to get any alcohol. All right, so now we put all of our roots and berries into our old school blender here. This is a Native American mortar and pestle. Would have been used for prepping a lot of different foods around the hearth. We're going to use it to break up all of our roots and nuts so that we can get it into our fermentation vat. We don't have to break it up too bad because we're going to strain it out. So this is just to break it up to get the surface area so we get a good extraction of all the flavors. Now, one thing about making it this way is there is a ingredient in sassafras called sassafras, which is a volatile oil which has been reported to have some health issues. Carcinally, mild carcinogen, and then also a kidney problem. And so if you get root beer today, It is probably not made out of sassafras. It is going to be made out of wintergreen. You can buy sassafras, had the sassafras removed, but again, I think you just need to be careful, so I'm not sure I would even use that if you could buy one where it's just safer. Now, you could cook it on the hearth to get a little bit more flavor, but I think we're going to probably do just fine. Let this sit, cool off, and then we're going to add sugar and our ginger bug and let it ferment. Strain it, rack it, and it will go into sterilized bottles where it will sit and wait until it is ready for a special treat like a Christmas holiday party.